Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better.
With the heavy production workload at Wfbs, it was get away for a while or go crazy. But what to do and where to go? I had heard John Lennon was working on putting together a peace ship in New York. Maybe a radio special there. Sounds like a busman's holiday, but at least it would be something different. So it was off to New York. The peace ship was anchored in New York Harbor. It was a rather large vessel with 3 large studios and a transmitter area with room for 2 or 3 high-powered transmitters and heavy-duty power generators. We spent the night on Lennon'S peace ship, and the next morning got an interview with Abby Nathan, who was overseeing the retrofit.
Again, speaking with Abby Nathan aboard the peace ship docked here in New York. And Abby, how closely is John Lennon tied with the peace ship? We have heard, the general public has heard that he is involved.
Well, as I explained earlier, he's trying to help us raise money. He's set up a fund in London, and they are raising money. He's spent several $1,000s in putting ads in American magazines and in British papers, asking people to appeal for funds. He's giving us, we're going to use a lot of his music. He's going to be on the ship in the first couple of weeks, keep away from his work to join us. I don't know how much more anybody can be involved, and he is involved in spite of the fact that he's extremely busy, but I think he's a very beautiful human being, and he just wants to join, and it caught his eye immediately, and we are in close touch all the time.
Again, speaking with Abby Nathan on the peace ship here in New York, and earlier we were discussing the ship, and I think at the moment it would be opportune time to discuss the real reason for the ship, what the reason is. And of course, you know basically that in the Middle East, the conflict going on now between the Arabs and the Israelis. But what's it all about, Abby?
Well, you have 2 positions in the Middle East. The Israeli position today is to do nothing until such time as the Arabs sit and negotiate. But I think the Israelis know that the Arabs will not and cannot negotiate, because maybe they are just Arabs. Because had they been Europeans, they might have sat and negotiated already 20 years ago, and we might have had peace. For the Arabs to sit directly and unconditionally to sit and negotiate means for them a form of surrender, of capitulation. What is needed is a face-saving device in order to enable them to sit not as losers, even if it's for their own local consumption. A situation must be created where they feel they're not crawling to the table. Then on the other side, the Arabs will also refuse to sit because they say Israel must withdraw. The stand that Israel takes is that we've already withdrawn before and we've had no peace, and they don't want any more to withdraw. While many people say, why should they withdraw anyhow? And this is the deadlock. That's how to break this deadlock, is to talk to people, I think.
Now you say withdraw. Is that from
withdraw from all the territories that Israel occupied after the 6-Day War. And in reality, Israel will not withdraw, I think, unless there are chances of peace. So this is where the whole deadlock is. As long as both sides maintain this position, there's going to be no peace. They're just going to be killing. So what is needed is to create an atmosphere that will permit the leaders to talk about, on one hand, withdrawal, and on the other hand, negotiations.
Well, is there a DMZ or a demilitarized zone? Is there any area, or is it just here Arab, here Israeli?
No, Israel is on the on one side. We have the Suez Canal, then you have the Jordan River, the Golan Heights. It's all around Israel that extra territory has been added, and the Israeli army sits there, and they both sit and take shots at each other all day long.
How wide is the Suez Canal? Varying in size, but at this particular point.
Well, it's just a canal, just for one ship at a time to cross.
Say 100 feet, 200 feet?
Something like that. I've never been there.
So for all practical purposes, the DMZ is a canal 100 feet wide.
That's right. That's what it is. And in the Egyptian side, anyway, you have the Jordan River, which is even smaller. So people shoot at each other.
Well, of course, it goes beyond that, too, and commando raids, guerrilla raids, and things like this.
You got heresy. You have bomb throwing from the side of the Arabs, and you have retaliation by planes and tanks from Israel. But neither the bomb throwing nor the retaliation is solving the problem. It's only killing a lot of innocent people.
Well, is there in, say, Israel, the average Israeli, does this occupy a predominant place in his mind, this conflict, or is it like perhaps here in New York, if they have a problem in Harlem or in Brooklyn, and everybody talks, say, hey, we had a little incident over in Brooklyn or something like that. Is it like that, or is it we have a problem here, I have a problem?
No, this is a problem that people are living with every day. It's a war where people are dying, and this is the basic subject, the basic topic, and the basic concern of the people, not only in Israel, but also in the Arab world. It concerns everybody in that area, just this one particular thing. We don't have other problems any other problems that come to anywhere close to this. The other problems are just social problems, but this is the main problem that occupies everybody's mind in the whole area.
How far beyond, you say now the Israelis and the Arabs are on either side of the Suez Canal. How far beyond the Suez Canal did the Arabs occupy prior to the Six-Day War?
Oh, several hundred miles.
Square miles or?
Well, several thousand miles. It's a whole big area. The whole Sinai Peninsula belonged to the Arabs. The Gaza Strip belonged to the Arabs. The West Bank belonged to the Arabs. Parts of the Golan Heights.
Are there Arabic people still living in that area now?
There's a total of over 1 million Arabs still living in that area.
What is their opinion? Do you know? Are you aware?
Well, they feel they're an occupied people, and while Israel's occupation is humane, it is not good enough, because no occupation can be humane enough or good enough, because people still feel occupied.
On our way home from the trip to New York, we wound up taking 3 very expensive paintings in the trunk of our car and dropping them off in Washington, D.C. at an art gallery per Abby Nathan's request. He was trying to get more money for the peace ship conversion. It's funny how some people can be so trusting. Well, after all, we did sleep on John Lennon's peace ship. But alas, it was time to get back to work.